So first one, the partner or head of industrial market from KPMG ภูมิชัยคุณธิดารัตน์ฉิมหลวง And next, may I invite the Chief Strategy Officer of EVME Plus Company คุณพีระโสภิตนุกุล And the last one, Dr. Piyawadee Khovidhunkit, EVP Risk Management and Compliance Division of ThaiRe Insurance PLC. So I'll pass the mic to Dr. Piyawadee now. So thank you and good morning everyone. Welcome to Thailand InsurTech Fair 2022. This is yet another interesting session because we're going to have panel discussion for EV trends, which is of course the very big trend that everyone has to pay attention to. So today we're going to talk about the EV trends. The global trend. Sorry, the mic is not working. So we're gonna talk about the global and domestic trends for EV industry, and us in the industry of insurance and also other industry that are relevant to automobile and automotive production. What we have to think about and what we have to pay attention to. This will be the gist of the next 45 minutes. So pay attention, people. So first thing first, I would like to ask both our panelists this question, like to give us a little bit of the brief introduction. The mic is not working, sorry. So let's hear about a short introduction of the EV trend, who are the leading players and what are the infrastructure and also the rest of the background. So my name is MR.PEERA from EVME Plus, and I represent the company to discuss about EV in Thailand and overseas today based on the questions that the moderator has given to us for the EV trend for global scale. In this year, the accumulative sales is about 1.6 million cars, which is quite high. That is a major breakthrough growth when compared year to year. So for the high growth countries, that will be China, which the growth rate in the past year is as high as 90% year on year, which is very high. And for European countries, we also see healthy and robust growth, and that followed by the US, which has also recorded high numbers. So for the growth factors of EV, we see healthy growth because partly of the policies in each country that accelerate the adoption of EV cars with the tax policies, tax measure, and also the special discount for the EV products. And also next, the technology has improved quite significantly in this past couple of years. Like 5 years ago, when you talked about EV, we still have doubts whether it will fit in our daily life because the distance that they can make is still quite low. Like per charge is only less than 200 kilometers. So people have great concerns in the past whether it will last all day or whether it will fit in perfectly in the daily life. And we still have low numbers of the charging stations too. But in these recent years, we see great improvement with the new EV cars, EV models. The per charge, the distance is more than 300 kilometers already, and some can make it up to 400 or 500. So the concerns has been eliminated per se. And the use of car or mileage per day. If you talk about people in Thailand, the average is about 50 kilometers alone. So that would mean that if you get 300 kilometers per charge, you can just charge once and then it will last for the whole week. Also, some may have concerns of the EV because now people start to think of it as the one electronic device. So it's going to be like when you need to charge your mobile phones. You can do it every night and then you can have enough battery to last all day in the next day. For EV user, now it becomes their daily habit to charge on a daily basis. And then on the next day, the battery will be sufficient for all their use. That is the new habit, and that's why EV has a major breakthrough. So this will be the disruption for the petrol on oil business and gas station owners. People will start charging at home, so they will come to the petrol station less and less. So we need to also adapt ourselves. You'll see many stations start to turn themselves into retail corners where people can eat, can dine in, and also to buy stuff from the station too, not just to get the gas. And if you would hear in the news, like in China, they have the high adoption rate of EV. In certain provinces, it has become mandatory for each EV to install the charging station, charging dock, like one per one. So infrastructure is also the key to the EV adoption and its growth. Thank you. So actually, we need many factors to drive the growth. Now we need to have the manufacturer, users that we have to be ready, and also with the policymakers, they have to understand and to design the right policies for that, as well as the infrastructure that have to be ready too. So Kun Peera already has given us the overview that for overseas growth, it comes mostly from the facilitating policies. Now, let's ask another panelist about what is the situation or trend in Thailand. We start to see many manufacturers that decided to open their facility in Thailand too for EV production. So what are the policies for Thailand? And the panelists said that let me give you the overview of Thailand first. So we need to start with Thailand Master Plan that would be in line with the global policy. So first we'll set up the goals like within 2023 we would have EV production at 100%. That means that the ICE car will start to deplete since the year 2023 onward. And for many countries like China or Singapore, closer to home that is, and for China and Japan also the goal is 2035 that they will stop the production of ICE engine car. So we will also adopt the same policy or the same goal, and that's why it was translated into the monetary and non-monetary policy. We have the tax, the tax decrease and tax discounts, and also other supporting measures. For France and Germany, for example, they provide the incentive and subsidy of 7,000 USD dollars per car. And there will be further details that you need to understand. But for Thailand, we try to do the same. The trigger point is 2020 that we set up the committee taking care of the electricity and the EV, which specialize in EV, so we call that EV board. They already have been proactive and has launched many policies for Thailand to go green and to have zero emission. So the latest policy, we have the 30 at 30 policy that is to push Thailand to be the regional hub that is for EV production, and also to launch several measures, facilitating measures. So they have been very active, and it has been the talk of the town. So they have the tax decrease, and that is for the EV car if it's not more than 10 seats, and if the retail price is lower than 2 million baht, then they'll get exemption of the tax duty or a decrease of 20%. And also the public sector will provide a subsidy of about 70,000 to 150,000 depending on each scheme. So these are the measures that help Thailand to adopt the EV technology faster and also to move forward to the road to net zero. So for Thailand, within 2023, our goal is to have to have not less than 30% of the car produced to have zero emission. On consumer side and also for producers, we found that the policies are beneficial to all parties. And the moderator said that strategy has to be clear first. This is a very interesting answer. So for Thailand, we want us to be the green economy, and with the drive from the public sector, we also need the people or the agencies that would actually push for the progress. So for the public sectors, we already set up the EV board, and we launched several tax and also financial measures. So now let's talk about ecosystem that would have to support this growth. We cannot just move one key driver and not the others. So let's talk about Thailand. What are the key drivers that has already been accelerated with the growth? Like Kun Pira already told us that we need a charging dock or charging station, and also about the service, spare parts, and everything that are relevant in the ecosystem. So I would like to know what is the progress right now for the charging dock or charging station. Now, what would be the future of the gas station and how they would change their business model? So Kun Pira answers that for EV utilization, the ecosystem that are the key for the use of EV. The ecosystem consists of many elements. So what's most important, of course, is charging infrastructures, whether it's docks or stations. Looking historically, in the Thailand in the past, we have about 1,500 charging spots. But in this year, you will see a major breakthrough with the growth, with a triple growth. So by the end of this year, we should reach 5,000 charging points. So this is a public chargers. But in the next 5 years, we should reach 10,000 and more. So this would further enhance the EV adoption. So now we can have destination charger and also on the route chargers too. With this increase in the charger, it can help. And next is the technology that comes with it. Also, we see major improvement in this area too, with when compared to the low charging power that would require the user 6 hours to complete the charging. Now we have quick chargers. Many brands already imported this kind of charger, and I think that we have one in Ratchapruk, which is now the quickest charger in Thailand. From 0 to 80%, it takes only like less than half an hour to go there. So this would make it more convenient for EV users, and people would tend to adopt it more and may adopt it faster. With this kind of chargers, of course, we have a lot of players in the industry, 10-ish that is, and for each player, they would have their own application. EV users maybe they need like 10 each applications to get to all the charging docks or the charging stations. But for us, we have the Thailand EV Association. We saw this problem and we call all the players to see how can we plug in all the networks together. We think that we can finish this in the next year so that the users can access to the charging point easier. So for EVME ourselves, we have the application that have the EV car rental service, and also we have the ecosystem services, which actually is consolidating all the charging station in one application. So you start to see this, and we will expand more and more, so that the facilitating system would be more convenient on a real-time basis, and also the payment can be made with us, our application as the gateway too. Also, we have mentioned about the service and maintenance. For EV vehicles, if you would consider the parts, the moving parts in the car, actually there are a lot less, like thousands less than ICE car. So it's not gonna take a lot of the moving parts to be changed. So in each in each maintenance round, you will just go for the basics. You don't have to change the lubricants, or you don't have to check all the filters, and so the cost will be a lot lower. And in this point, the EV user, throughout the useful life, they can enjoy the cost effectiveness in several areas, for the maintenance, for the use of electricity, for the charge fee. Everything will help to change the mind of the behavior of users to turn to EV. And the moderator said that this is very interesting too, because I think that someone may not have given any thought about this, that actually turning to EV user can give you a lot more, because the producer and service provider, they are trying to eliminate all the pain points to the best of their ability, and through these processes, the work and the operation will be faster and even more convenient for users to become EV users easier. So now when you have the new business models, we'll see the sunrise and sunset industries that come together. So now let's hear from the panelists, both of them, on the entry of EV as a new phase of the industry, who will be impacted and who can exploit more benefits from this entry, or who would be threatened by EV. In terms of ecosystem, Kun Tidarat said for the ecosystem and the environment, we have 3 chains. So first is the body or the engine, as well as the moving parts, auto parts. Kun Pira already talked about the moving parts that will be no longer needed. Actually, 90% of them or 80% of them will be eliminated. That means that the operators working with the moving parts of the car, they need to adapt, and there's still some time to adapt. And by that, I mean to change the technology, or to serve or adapt themselves to serve in the EV industry. Also to work on the technology improvements and the production line to serve the relevant industry instead. It can be choices that they can adapt to. And the next group, The sunrise industry would be the charging infrastructure manufacturers like the charging stations and also the system that comes with a charger. They will see major breakthrough in these years to come. So if you are ready, then you can grab the opportunity. Next, on the battery, of course, it's vital to EV because it is where the energy came from. So this is very important because this is a sunrise business, not only for EV. Battery recycling is also a big up and coming business because we need to be able to reuse the battery to optimize the resource. So this will be the group 2 and group 3.
ถ้าพูดเมื่อสักครู่คือไม่ว่าจะแบตเตอรี่เอง
And when we talk about the power and battery or the charging station as well as the infrastructures, of course there will be certain sunset industries that we need to pay attention to. We used to use the fuel for ICE engine from fossil power, whether it is oil or gas.
ยังดูเรื่องของพลังงานที่เป็นพลังงานเชื้อเพลิงตรงนี้ก็ต้องปรับตัวเช่น
So those that work on the fuel business need to adapt, and also those that interact with users, like the sales of petrol.
ดีลเลอร์เองนะคะหรือในมุม
They have to switch to EV and insurance. Insurance also have to rethink about the premium. You may have to shift something because the cost may be higher or lower.
นี้ก็จะมีทั้ง2โหมดแล้วนะคะซึ่ง
But definitely they will change. So I will talk more about this later on. And this is the introduction on sunrise, sunset, and a new model like EVME,
มีแพลตฟอร์มขึ้นมาเลยนะคะให้บริการเต็มรูปแบบ
which is the full-scale platform. That will be sunrise as well. So for example, the leader in the industry like PTT, which is actually the parent company of EVME, they quickly adapt because they are the energy company and their main revenue came from the sale of petrol. But after EV start to rise, then we have the policy maker that launch many measures, and now we have seen the adaptation of the company for the new S-curve. And also we have other business that we may not think about, but also it is a sunrise like residential projects. Actually, it can be the selling point for any condominium projects that offer the charging station or charging docks. And also, they can also offer the solar rooftop as a part of the house to sell. It can also be very interesting too.
ฉกฉวยในการที่
So for our operator, if you see the opportunity to expand, rush.
เพราะฉะนั้นจริงๆอย่างที่ฟังก็คือว่าถึงแม้จะมีการเปลี่ยนแปลงอะไรก็
So whatever change it is, if you understand it and you can adapt, then you can still survive.
พลิกวิกฤตเป็นโอกาสให้ได้นะคะ
Yes, you have to turn the crisis into opportunity. So next, let's hear from Kun Pira on the new opportunity. Can you share with us on this? What is the business model and what is the opportunity? So actually, Kun Jiep already covered everything about sunrise and sunset businesses. So now I want to give you the introduction on EVME and how we come to exist. We are a subsidiary of PTT, and PTT already saw the future that fuel energy will be used less and less. So PTT made decision to have transition to be Life Energy and Beyond company. We have the new energy and beyond section, which is the renewable energy and also other lifestyle related business. So for the EV value chain, it's the relevant to this concept. So PTT decided to set up Arun Plus to take care of the EV chain, for the material, for the EV production, the facilities, and also the service that are relevant. For the EV, everything will go under EV Plus, which is a subsidiary of Arun Plus. So now EVME has provided services for EV in various fronts. First, we have the EV rentals, 100% that is, for 3 days, 7 days, and until up to 1 year of contract for the B2B and B2C customers. And after we get the mass adoption with more EV users, the service will expand to fit in the lifestyle of EV users. So this is the plan the following years. And the moderator said that, so now you have the insight of the EV user. Now, after you understood the ICE engine users, now for the interest of time, let me move on to the next question about EV and insurance company or industry. Because EV has been adopted by overseas economy for quite some time, and insurance is the tool for risk management, and that also covers the model
ผลิตภัณฑ์ประกัน
users too. So what are the models that would be shift and what are the challenges? So Kun Tidarat says that actually for the global economy and also in Thailand, the premiums will be higher, mostly, especially in the early stage, and there's a background behind that. So when we talk about the premium, of course, we take into account the maintenance cost too. And for EV car, when they got into accidents, you know, if you have moving parts, many of them, then you can change one by one. But for EV, the key thing would be battery, that they have to remove and switch the total set of it. So the cost for replacements would be more than half of the coverage lump sum. So if we have to get it fixed or for the maintenance, you need the knowledge from specialists. So you need to deploy the specialists and their knowledge because it's still in the early stage. So that's why the expense for the maintenance would be high, and as a result, that would impact the premium in the early stage. But after you reach the equilibrium, then you'll see that the coverage lump sum and the premium that come with it will be less challenging. So it will be about 5 to 30% higher than the traditional car premium. So this would be the challenge for the insurance companies on how to manage the customers or the cost in this early stage, so that we can grow together, both on the side of insurers and also the consumers too. So we can have like options offered to the customers. Like if it is a battery, the whole set replacement, then coverage may not be 100%. You can offer the customer to choose like 10% or 15% so that we can offer the right coverage and we can still work together, and it's still a win-win.
สำหรับทุกคน
So it seems like it is a new thing for everyone, both for consumer and insurers. So as an insurer, we need to first understand the consequence and what will come along with the EVs, including spare parts and the maintenance cycle and the life cycle for each equipment. And the most important thing is insights, because you need a lot of data to calculate your premium, and you also use a lot of statistics. At the beginning phase, we might not have a lot of statistics because we might not have lots of EV users. However, we will need to find a way to calculate that, and it will be slightly higher. But as we have more EV consumers, we should have more data, and that will help us improve the analysis. And we hope that the premium will be getting cheaper in the future. So at the beginning, you might get some savings in terms of cost, like PEERA said, but you might have to face higher insurance premium. But after a certain period of time, we hope that everything will reach its equilibrium and things will be better. And Mr. PEERA, I would like to ask you about the service. Regarding all of these services and insurance, what options do we have at the moment? If you ask about EVME, and EVME is like a consumer because we buy insurance and all of our vehicles are under coverage and first class insurance, and people who use our vehicle, let's say people who rent our car, we pay at one flat price and get full coverage for both B2B and B2C customers. However, as Kun Jiep just mentioned, today's insurance premium price is much higher than normal internal combustion vehicle by 15 to 30%. So those costs has been absorbed by EVME, and that cost is actually quite high. But people who use our vehicle, you don't have to worry about that because we have already absorbed those costs, and our user can enjoy the vehicle at a flat rate, but based on the customer's feedback from EVME customers. Maybe after they rent our vehicle, they might make a decision to purchase EV vehicle, and there will be much more concerns. Besides of higher premium rates, maybe the charging station, maybe home charging might cause fire incidents, or maybe they just trip on the cable. Do we have any insurance to, cover tripping cases because of the charging cable? And about the battery, do we have any product to cover the battery that will be deteriorating if we go bad every day, right? Or maybe some certain accident because of battery or some other EV parts. I think that's quite a challenge for our insurance company. Maybe this is your homework. You might be able to come up with new products to serve these pain points for EV users. Okay, so you mean everyone still have a lot of works to do, right? For the new business model, everyone can look for benefits and opportunities, right? But it has to be win-win and win. The producers, the consumers, and also other players in the ecosystem. There should be 3 wins, all right? And before we are running out of time, may I ask you about some final key takeaways? Let's say some final thoughts. When we talk about the EV, what would you like to leave for our audience today so they could continue their thinking process, and maybe we could convince them to get into EV sooner or later? I think the direction is clear. EV is meant for sustainability, and sustainability is very important for the whole world, not just Thailand. That's the most important part, and it is inevitable. So the trend is here, and every country, including the public and private sectors, even the consumers, we are all ready to go for EV. But along the way, along the journey before we reach our destination, there are numbers of opportunities, and please, when you ever find an opportunity, please try to capture the opportunity to help us grow the EV ecosystem. But if you see any challenges along the way, maybe we could find a way to overcome those challenges. It could be turned into opportunity. Please remember, whenever you see challenge, always think that there's 2 sides of a coin. There can be an opportunity behind that, and also we still have some time. I would say we still have some time to think about that. We can start today. We do it now, and together we will be successful, and we can help us achieve the sustainability goal. And that's why we need EV. Next, Mr. PEERA. Like Kun Jiep said, we still have a lot of opportunities in EV business. Like sustainability is one of the key factors where people start considering. And for EV, if you think of EV as electronic equipment, actually it will bring you a lot of data along with that electronic equipment. The more data we have, the better we could use the data. It will be very good for both producers and consumers, and at the same time it could help us come up with new innovation to help us drive the world forward. It might make our world a little better place. Maybe in the near future we might have even manless vehicle available on the street. We might not need so many cars like what we see today. Maybe we have less traffic jam, for example. So EV is a very important world-changing trend, and in the next few years you will see this even more clearly in this world. So for the next 2 or 5 years, let's see how we could adapt and how we could reap the opportunity from this change. So maybe we can enjoy the benefits from the new ecosystem or the new data and even the EV's value chain. Thank you, sir. So I think the key takeaway for both of our speakers is, yes, it is here and we need to change. We need to look for opportunity. We need to put ourselves into that ecosystem. So those are our key takeaways, because we know that this is our new S-curve, especially for automobile industry. So we will need to find our own S-curve that rides along with other industry too. All right, now it's time. If we have any question from the floor or our online audience.
ค่ะถ้า
So I believe that what we have covered today in the previous session is actually we have covered so many things. We have discussed about so many aspects of EV, and today we have learned from both of our speakers and also from the experience. We learn how far we have come in terms of EV, who are the key players, and also for the Thailand as a country, we have a strategy to drive EV vehicles in Thailand. We have EV board, we have EV measures, we have numbers of movements within the business sectors, especially automobile and non-motor players, because everyone could find an opportunity in this arena, and let's see if we could come up with new business model that could help us make a better future for the business and for the environment and for sustainability. So for today, I think we have a very fruitful discussion. So thank you our speakers, Ms. Tidarat Chimluang, partner from KPMG Phumchai, and also Mr. PEERA SOPITNUKUL, Chief Strategy Officer from EVME Plus. Thank you so much for sharing with us your experience and your knowledge in EV. So once again, please put your hands together for our guest speakers. And last but not least, I would like to thank everyone for joining our session today. We still have a lot more activities coming up throughout today and tomorrow event in Thailand InsurTech Fair 2022. And if you want to find out more, please follow our page or please visit us at the Impact Center. You can have a look at all of these promotions around the hall, and if you are interested, you can have a look and shop around. We still have 2 days to go, but for now, thank you so much for joining us and have a good day. And thank you very much our speakers and panelists